Average damage is by far the most important statistic in World of Tanks Blitz, because unlike win rate, it cannot be manipulated that easily. As a player who is capable of doing over 4000 damage per battle, today I will teach you how you can improve your damage as well. Let's go! This is the theoretical part of dealing damage in World of Tanks Blitz. I briefly went over this in my previous video as well. However, the difference between that video and this video is that today I'm going to go over a bunch of live battles that I played on my live streams, and I will analyze them and tell you what I was doing and why I was doing so. Speaking of live streams, if you want to catch me live, I definitely recommend checking out my live streams. I stream almost every single day, showcasing the highest level of gameplay in World of Tanks Blitz available on YouTube at the moment. With that out of the way, if you want to pause this, feel free to do so. However, I'm going to explain everything in the live examples. In the first example, I am taking my fast medium tank to the middle of that rail, securing a key position which allows me to spot the enemy heavies, providing my teammates with information about the enemy's positions, and allowing myself to farm damage for free. I've been saying this for a long time now, but going to the heavy flank in a medium is definitely the right play sometimes. On top of dealing 1400 damage early on, I managed to save myself a decent amount of HP as well. This example is similar to the previous one. I'm taking the middle of canyon in my AMX30B, which allows me to spot the enemies and farm them quite effectively. I am going to take a little bit of damage here, however that's completely fine as long as you keep most of your HP in the early game. As I stated in my first video, the way you play this map highly depends on your teammates. In this case, I saw that 2 of my teammates went to the A cap, and because of that, I decided to come to the middle. However, if everybody went to the C cap, I would have definitely gone to the corner instead. Next up, let's talk about the most crucial part of each battle, which is the mid game. This is all about farming damage, and as you can see in this example here, which is a beautiful example, I'm going to use the HP of my teammate in the Emil 2 in order to take some shots for me, while helping him at the same time by dealing with this Progetto here. What this is going to do, apart from us killing this Progetto, is the fact that his rack is going to give me a hard-down cover, where I can just hide, and I'm going to give the enemies a really tough time hitting my turret, and even if they hit it, they have a high chance of hitting my gun mantlet, which is not a weak spot on the 30B, and as you can see, I'm able to abuse it perfectly here, and it gives me a bunch of damage on these enemy tanks. Next up, I'm playing the FV215B, a British heavy tank with a crazy amount of DPM, which makes it perfect for farming damage. As you can see, my team is pushing the enemies here since we are getting flanked by the enemy mediums, and I'm going to put my huge HP pool into good use here by just YOLOing these guys essentially, killing the M103 and then proceeding to farm the E100. And as you can see, based on the enemy's positions, I'm able to farm them one by one, which is definitely a mistake that I'm going to capitalize on. As you can see, the E100 shoots the STB here. He could have shot me if he wanted to, but he decided to go for the STB, and because of that I'm able to kill him here and proceed to go for the IS-7 next. And just like that, I'm able to increase my damage from 800 all the way up to over 3000. If you are playing a slow tank, then the mid game is when you will do most of your damage, because you are too slow to take early positions, like you could see in the earlier examples, and at the same time you are too slow to farm at the late game as well, since you don't have the mobility. However, what you do have going for you is a bunch of HP and a huge alpha damage. If you look at the example here, I'm playing the VK72, and if you look at the minimap, my whole team is on the other side. And as soon as I noticed that, I was like, you know what, I'm not too bothered by the fact that I'm alone here, because I have a bunch of HP and I can hit each enemy tank for 600 damage. So because of that, I'm able to abuse that, and I can just deal with like 3 tanks on my own basically. And I know for a fact that on this map I'm never going to reach anybody in the late game. So I just decide to take the trades, which is obviously getting me killed here, but at the same time I still did over 4000 damage, so there is no reason to complain. Next up, I'm playing the FV again, and this game is another perfect example of how you should be playing the mid game in a heavy tank. So the main difference between playing the mid game in a medium tank and in a heavy tank is that with heavy tanks you can rely on your own HP, and in medium tanks you should rely on your heavy tanks HP. by making them take the shots and then abusing your crazy DPM to farm the enemies. If you have both, like the FV in this case, then you can just play aggressively, and basically what is happening here is that I noticed that we are in an equal kind of position here with the enemy team, since they have a lot of tanks and we also have a lot of tanks. So I need to put my DPM into good use here by killing this concept as quickly as possible and then moving on to the Leo and the T92. I can just spam all of these guys with HE, so I'm definitely gonna take advantage of that. And at the same time I'm also seeing that we have complete map control. So what that means is that I can lose as much HP as I want here as long as I don't die, because they have a Foch TD who is going to get spotted very soon, and as soon as I saw him I was like, he's definitely not gonna be looking at me, so I can lose even more HP at this point, which I'm obviously gonna do here. So as you can see, I almost die in the end, but not quite, which is definitely all that matters. Next up, we have a game that's going to take us from the mid game all the way into the late game. So we are playing on Fort Despair, which, as you may or may not know, is definitely my least favorite map. I think this map is disgraceful and it should be removed from tier 10. But besides that, we are at a massive disadvantage here, as you can see. I'm trying to farm some damage, but it's not really working out. So what is happening is that I managed to do 2000 damage. However, I am forced to run because we completely lost the heavy flank and we are in a 2 versus 5 situation. I still have a Leo with me luckily, which is obviously nice. So what I need to do in situations like this is that I need to run away as far as possible in a medium tank. I'm trying to dodge this 183 here, and as you can see, as soon as he fires, I'm going even further away from these guys. This may seem like a chicken play or whatever you wanna call it, but this is what I need to do in a medium tank. And from here, I'm basically just trying to farm as much damage as possible. I know for a fact that I'm not going to win this game, that's pretty obvious, but I can still maximize my damage, and this is what I keep saying. If you have a bad team, you can still maximize your damage and you can still do well yourself, because in my opinion you can definitely outwork a bad team. The other late game possibility is that your team is winning. So in situations like this, you have to play like a madman. You need to YOLO everybody and you shouldn't be afraid of losing your HP. Because why keep HP when you won't be able to utilize it anyway after the game is over, right? So even if you die here, like I'm going to in this example, you still need to YOLO and just do as much damage as possible. You can see I'm ramming a Kramwagen with the 30B, I'm ramming this bad chat, and again, he kills me, but I don't care. Why do I not care? Because there was no more damage left anyway. This was my full damage farming guide. If you enjoyed it, make sure to smash like and also smash subscribe so we can reach 2K by the end of the summer. If you want to learn more about farming damage, then feel free to check out my streams where you can learn more every single day. Peace!